Hello, fearless gamers, and welcome to a impromptu live stream. Um, Hold on, let me just fix the audio here a little bit, if I can. That doesn't look like I can. Adjust it here. There we go. So, as the stream has implied here, we're going to be giving the game Bladesong a look at. This is something that I saw. It ran through my social media feeds a while ago. I thought it was kind of interesting. Then the demo came out. I gave the demo a try. I played through the demo, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to get this game." For those who may not know, it is a blacksmithing simulator game. The whole idea is you're a blacksmith, and you forge swords, and in the story mode, you forge swords, you sell them, people commission you based on what kind of type of sword they want, and then you sell it, and there's a story progression where you try to become the most famous blacksmith in the region area that this game takes place in. And the big sell point on this is, as you see here, creative mode, where you can design any kind of sword you want practically. If you have the patience and time to do, you could recreate a lot of different swords in this game. Like you could do the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda, Dragon Slayer from Berserk, Zabimaru from Bleach. But the really big thing about it is, once you've done creating your sword, you can export it as an STL to print. So it's got a cool cosplay aspect to it. So you could basically design weaponry for your costumes and have a file you can print out for yourself, which is really cool. And like I said, there is a story mode, and the story is actually quite interesting to me. I really want to see how it plays out. Basically takes place in a post-apocalyptic medieval fantasy setting. And see here, I've played through the demo. The demo goes through a couple of days in the prologue. So we're going to start a brand new game, and this is the paid for version, so we'll get the whole story that's available, because it's an early access game, so the whole story isn't available yet. Chapter 1 is the only thing that's out right now, and Chapter 2 is in progress right now. So let's dive right in. And if people want, feel free to make suggestions on what we're going to be decisions we make for the story and all that, because this is like a choose your own adventure kind of deal. So feel free to leave comments about like story choices you think we should go with, or designs of the blade as we go through. All right. In cloying darkness, you writhe. You cling to life by the tips of your fingers. Something takes shape in the emptiness, contours of flesh tracing along familiar lines, a withered old woman's face floating before your own. When she speaks, she has a rasping voice of a raven. Who are you? A swordsmith? A survivor? A saint? Let's see. Dying man. Dying? Wrong. It is not your time. The Sundering claimed untold lives, yet you endured when so many around you perished. What did you do to survive? Let's see. Mercenary. I joined a band of sellswords, forging blades used in our butchery. When the last of them died in battle, it was time for me to start over. A leader built a settlement out of Oyster Hell. I was their smith and their spokesman. For many years we held out, but one day I buried them all. Wanderer, I piled my trade from settlement to settlement, gathering hard-won knowledge around the world, and then followed. Slave, I was too useful to kill. I was traded back and forth as a prize between this game. So these are all the different backstories. Let's see. The slave, the background grants +3 finesse, and you may open unique dialogue choices. Wanderer gains +3 knowledge. Leader +3 diplomacy. And mercenary background gives a +3 toughness. Um, tricky, tricky, tricky. Which one do I want to do? Um, I think for this story arc, like I've done the Wanderer in the demo, so I know what that is like. Um, I like the idea of finesse or diplomacy or mercenary. I just said I liked all three options. I haven't played yet. Tough, 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 tough. Let's go with leader. A cold hand touches your brow. Water cools your burning throat. You kept something through all your hardships, a keepsake from a better time. What is it? An artisan's tool, a creative playstyle, grants a bundle of leathers and pigments for more creative freedom early on. A fairly heirloom, a story-focused playstyle, grants a unique family heirloom passed down through prior generations of your lineage. And optimization-focused playstyle, grants a bottle of precious liquor to boost your progress. So usually I do the artisan's toolkit. So again, we're going to change it up a little bit. Either do the fairly heirloom or a bottle of rare old world spirits. Which one do we choose? For a story-focused playstyle, for a creative playstyle, for an optimization-focused playstyle. Do I want to be more story-focused or creative? You know what? We're going to play a little differently. We'll do fairly heirloom. The fire is burning itself out, leaving you a damp shadow of your old self. You claw blindly in the darkness until more water is tripped down your throat. What do you believe in? Now the voices have abandoned this world. There's ambition, continuity, freedom, compassion, nothing. Let's see. Every small kindness is an act of defiance in the world without pity. I'm gonna go with compassion. You have it backwards. Love is what dooms your kind in the end. The world will tear out that soft heart of yours and devour it. I'll leave you with one final question, and I don't expect an answer. What will fill the silence the voices have left behind? As the old woman's face retreats into the inky blackness, sparks flicker into life behind her. One by one, a field of stars burning with a sickly pale light. Like seeds taking root, they twist and expand, their tendrils branching and burrowing through darkness until they've strangled it with light. Now wake, Smith. You still have a part to play in humanity's final act. A new day has dawned. Your eyes flutter as you regain consciousness. You are faintly surprised to find yourself alive. Either death did not come for you, or when it did, it found you unyielding. Awaken. You sit up, grasping wet-drenched. The fever has broken. Now, see, this is interesting. Oh, wait, maybe it's here. Yep. Get your bearings. You're in a tent. There's no sign of your caretaker apart from a half-empty water pail and a damp cloth on your brow. You peek out the tent flaps, squinting against the sunlight. Outside, as far as the eye can see, stretches a chaotic sprawl of tents and shelters, churned mud and shallow graves. Most of your rations are gone. Your horse is already dying when the fever took you. Its body's nowhere to be seen. By now, it is likely soup. You're on your own. Remember, you nurtured Oyster, Aster, Osterhall from a village into a thriving town, accepting survivors from other doomed outposts when you were forced to watch its decline as plagues and famine and raiders took their due. As as a wow, I can't read. It was a long journey to Aaron Aaron Keep, though through dust and despair. Your last memories are of sliding from your dying horse, your numb legs trekking furrows in the mud as someone dragged you to shelter. But who? Outside the tent is a crude field forge, complete with an anvil. Did you crawl here in a daze, or did your mysterious caretaker bring you here? Either way, the anvil gives you a feeling of home. Assess the field's forge condition. It seems to have been abandoned for some time, lacking anyone with a skill to work it, but it won't require much effort to get running again, should you need to make a living out here. Hopefully it won't come to that. First, you should head to the gates and try to secure entry into Aaron Keep. That's why you are here after all. This short tutorial will teach you what you'll need to know. Please follow closely. Okay. So yeah, the basic premise of the game is it's a medieval time. Everything was going good until this like sundering event where basically society collapsed, monsters started roaming the world, and evil basically plagued the land, and all civilization has crumbled. Aaron Keep is one of the only few surviving towns. It's protected by a magical energy field, so not anyone can just enter into it, and it's ruled by a dude called the Masked King. And the whole story is you going through the story and uncovering the secrets. My own personal theory is that you are responsible for the sundering. You're the reason why the world the way it is, or at least you witnessed what happened that caused this. That's my theory. Okay, so basic here, you got up here, you got your money, you got your materials, your action points, your levels over here, and you got your jobs, your inventory, the day cycle, and your skill points, sorry, and end of the day. And so you click here, then you click on here, gives you a brief summary of what the guy wants, and then it tells you how much steel you're going to need minimum and what your reward is, and what his parameters for the sword are. Your first customer is a gaunt man in tattered cloak. He approaches you, noticing the anvil outside your tent. You're a blacksmith. Can you make me a sword? I've got the coin for it. Just make sure it's good and long. I don't like my enemies to be hugging distance, if you get my meaning. Okay? Then we forge it. And game's not really going to mention this, but let's just say you're building your sword and you run out of materials. You can leave the job and come back to it later when you have more supplies. So it's, in a sense, kind of like the blacksmithy area where, I'll put this sword aside when I have the materials for it. So it's kind of cool. It's not like you're locked in and you have to finish it that day or else you're SOL. You can continue with it later down the line. I don't know if the game gets angry at you and it has a time frame where how long you can postpone making the blade once you pick it up. I haven't done anything like that because, like I said, just the demo. Okay, so yeah, we use the mouse here. And then and then bam, you can. Okay, so right up here tells us what the guy wants. It requires blade. It requires between 38 and 58%, currently 10%. So click here, change the blade length, hammer, and tap. And if I raise till it gets to its height, it changes faster. This line shows the area being affected. And you see here we hit the parameter, the blade length. Okay. Now we gotta change the thickness and see this line here. This is the area again that's affected. Later on when we get through the game, there'll be these circles here that you can shrink so you can then control what piece of the blade. So you're not always affecting the whole blade. You can make like the back end really, really thick and then the front really, really thin. You know, so you have a little more freedom than what we have right now. Okay. Let's see. Now I can see how thin the blade is. And it's not showing it yet, but soon there'll be like a UV over here to show us. There it is, cross-section display. So see, this shows us what the blade looks like, gives us some details on it. Okay, change the width. Add a point. And that sound you hear, that's basically the game telling you you've hit your limit, you can't make it, you won't be able to make any more changes with your current parameters. And there we go. And then we got hilt mode. And up here it tells you how much of your resources, what you're using, how much you have. Okay, he wants a two-handed sword. There we go. And yep, and see, I can click it to detach it. And I can change the polish level. Make it super polished. He's my first customer. He's gonna get it really nice. And I don't have any leather or anything because of the options that I picked. But there we go. Standard sword. Okay, so now, see this area, not happy with how thick it is, so I can hit and reverse. So this is undoing what you did. That's removing effect, adding effect, and you could also completely get rid of it by highlighting and hitting the delete button. Yep. Okay, and then if you want, you can give it a name. Man takes the sword and jabs it at his shadow, experimentally, a slow grin across his face. This should do the trick. Thank you, Smith. Here's your payment. There's going to be a lot of the story mode where this is going to be the way it ends, so this could be fairly generic. Overall, the story mode, at least the prologue which we are in, may feel a little repetitive for the most part because a lot of it's just generic swords that the guys want. You could be a little creative, but the game doesn't really care how creative you go. So word is already spreading around the camp about the new smith. Your next customer is a wary-looking man with a bald pate. I don't know. No, bald pate. His hollow eyes darting back and forth. I heard you I heard you came down with the wasting fever. Lucky to be alive you are. Anyway, can you modify this sword for me? I scavenged it from the ruins, but it hasn't got enough of a point to it. I want something I can grab and stab into a thief's belly if I need to. He hands you the sword with a sharp edge, but a rounded tip. As you hold it to the light, he leans forward conspiratorially. I have only had this blade 3 days, and I felt people's jealous eyes upon it. If they come for it in the night, I want to be able to give them a short, sharp stab. And this is basically a generic mission that you get every day. It's basically modifying a pre-made sword. It's a quick way to get XP and money, and if you have just very few action points left. Okay, so here we go. It wants a narrow point, so click the point. And this is what I was talking about before. So this circle, I can then drag to see how long I want the area effect. So I put it here. The blade will narrow down and will go all the way here. See the highlighted area? Yep. And I can keep going and going if I wanted to. And then, see there, it goes back to the point. The man takes the sword, tests the point, smiling at the well of blood that wells at his fingertip. Then he stows it away, glancing around the camp as he does so. Folks around here will take everything from you if you aren't vigilant. Keep an eye out, Smith. He scurries away, his back hunched as though against a non-existent downpour. And every thing messes there. See, nameless sword because I didn't give it a name. You just scrapped item. Yep. So go into my inventory. So I've got these items here. So we take this, hit F. Now we got more steel. Now that we ran out of action points, new day. End of day. End of day. Tells me my profit margins. Explore. And this is where some of the story element comes in, and you can, depending on what you do, will depend on how things affect your options in the story, which I'll explain in a little bit, a little better. The outer gate. Passage into Erin Keep is barred by a colossal gate taller than a ship's mast. It was built to withstand enemy armies, but since the Masked King's ascension, it mainly keeps out the desperate masses seeking his protection. Examine the magical barrier. It's only visible in half-light or dawn, or when it pours with rain, a faint shimmer that raises from the walls and captures Erin Keep in a vast... knowledge. See, I didn't have a high enough skill to know what it is. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, but the Masked King is somehow the key to its power. If we had taken the Wanderer background, we most likely would have passed that because you got more knowledge. The barrier is why so many travelers so far to camp outside. Is why so many traveled so far to camp outside these walls. This is the reason you came here. Braving countless dangers, this barrier keeps the dangers of the wastelands at bay. Approach the gate. As you approach, the portcullis rises to admit a caravan, and chaos breaks out. The crowd swells like a rising tide. The refugees push forward, begging for entry, and the guards battle them back. With their shields, the merchant wagons barrel through, their drivers using horse whips to lash stragglers out of the way. Now, I can try and sneak through or call for the attention of the guard. I'm going to call for the attention of the guard. Call. Huh? What do you want? He gazes down at you like a fisherman disappointed with his catch. Now, this one I think is The star is, I think, either the suggestion or you have a bonus to this because of your skill set. You a citizen or got yourself a worker's permit? Oh no, I think that one is the indicates progresses the story more. This. No, I don't. Then get out of here, applicant, and stop wasting my time. Applicant. That is the euphemism the guards use to refer to the desperate hordes camping at their gates. It has a nicer ring, you suppose, than refuge. I don't know. I'm bad at reading. Please, I've traveled a long way and barely survived the journey. I just need to get through. I have useful skills. I am a blacksmith. Every applicant who comes here begging is a doctor or a master glassmaker or a damned alchemist. You think I was born yesterday? If you're a smith, prove it. Let's see. I could show you sword you main. I could show you sword my name. And how am I supposed to know you're telling the truth? I've got a sword too. Does it make me a smith? Buzz off, little fly. Head back to your tent. You return to your tent where your makeshift forge awaits you. Hardly at your best, working with limited materials, but it's all you have for the time being. It won't be long before you cash of steel runs out. Since it seems you'll be going to be here longer than expected, you should make a priority to find a merchant. And so this is where things can progress differently. Depending on, like, when I tried the demo the first time, my choices in the dialogue never unlocked the merchant. My second playthrough, I was a little more social with the characters, and I was able to unlock the merchant. So we've got 8 points to spend right now. We got some extra wood, we got some extra steel, we don't have leather. That's a big thing because a lot of the orders require leather. So, like, see this one here? It'll give me all of this. It just needs to be fast. And it needs smith companions. These are basically like hand guards, pommels, and such. This one, material wood, it needs to have, all these circles need to be filled basically, so, you know, wooden handles, changing the pommel to wood, changing the handguard to wood, fulfills those requirements. Smith companion. Book Smith's companion, yep, so you need, to better explain it, because brain, think good, book Smith's companion, as you see here. So you're going to need at least, here, like in this one, 2, you need 2, I don't know why I pointed at the screen, you guys can't see what I'm pointing at. You need at least 2 items that were unlocked by the book, Smith's companion. You can buy books, the books unlock different, like, pieces you can add. And number of exhaustion points, so this one requires the most steel, he gives us leather. Wood. This one needs a lot of woods. We're going to do this one because it gets us some leather, some scrap, and the most coin, I think. Yes. Hello, Smith. Nice setup you got here. What can I do for you? There's a gang that comes around my tent every night, regular as clockwork. They kick and beat us, take our rations, push our faces into the mud. You'd think there'd be some solidarity here, but, well, there aren't. I managed to hide the last of my coin from them so far, but who knows for how long. Best to spend that coin on a good sword, I reckon, so I can protect what is mine. I accept it. So now, like I was talking about before, I can leave this option if I don't end up having all the materials, and I can go to another day, and this option will still be here. It'll allow me to finish it, but on the flip side, it takes up space and action point. It takes up space on my job list, but I never have to spend any more action points on it, so that's one good thing. And like I said, you always have this one, which is basically a reforging of a sword to get you some fast coin. Okay, so he wants mobility. It needs to be a certain weight. So he's got to be a certain length, certain weight. Its biggest attribute has to be at least level 1 in mobility. And it needs a bunch of wood and 2 items from the blacksmith's companion. So change the length. And the more consecutive hits I do, the bigger the changes. Let's see. Okay. Alrighty. So now let's change the thickness. Okay, so as you see, the thickness of the blade changed the weight and the mobility. Oops, too much. And if I hit this button, the shift, I can control it so it's a little less, it's not as massive changes. Okay, put a point on there. He wants a narrow point. So I like to do that. Okay, there we go. Oops, the weight's too much. Now change the thickness. There we go. Okay. Then we need to add an edge. And actually, okay. Looking pretty good. Give him a nice long edge. Alright, so now we got all the blade parameters in there. Now I have to go to the handle. So see these stars? That means they would count towards what he's asking for, which is the blacksmith companion items. And he wants it to be two-handed. Give it a nice polish. Give this a nice polish too. Make everybody look like they've got fancy swords. And see there. There we go. And then it needs a pommel. There we go. Give it a nice little spy under look. And see, so we've got all the wooden materials. If I wanted to, I could actually turn the handguard or the pommel into wood as well. We're going to give him... There we go. Nice looking sword. Oops. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Steel. Alrighty. Then we're gonna call this Night Guard because it's protecting a dude's bed. A dude while he sleeps. Okay. Applicant stands a little straighter as he tests the weight of the blade. It's perfect. You should see the blunt, rusted daggers those bullies wave around. This'll put some real fear in them. Thank you, Smith. Maybe my kids will get to keep their food tonight. Night guard. Okay, got leather, got coin, and got 2 rusted helmets. I've earned a skill point. So we go in here, and we can unlock different skills. So we can scaling, asymmetrical blades, or advanced edge work. Anyone got an opinion on which skill we should go with first? I usually go with scaling first. Before the prologue is done, we will get at least all 3 of these levels, so doesn't really matter. Let's see. Asymmetrical blades. We'll go with asymmetrical blades for now. Okay. Close that out. Okay, we got 3 more action points. We can't do anything here. So let's get us some hammers, and then we'll use our last action point for a few extra coins. This again, so he gives you a blade, and he just needs you to fix it. So he wants a broad point. So we find the point there. Boom. Done. He wants it. He wants the weight down. Boom. And he wants the balance. So we're going to change the width. And boom. There we go. And since it's his sword and I didn't make it, I ain't naming it. Oh, it's not sharp. Let's make the blade go across there. There we go. And one of the things, since we got asymmetrical blade shapes, so now see here, I could select an option right down here. I toggle this switch and it changes what can be affected. So 2 lines means it'll affect both sides of the blade evenly. Flip this side, it's only going to affect the left side of the blade. Flip it this way, it's only going to affect the right side of the blade, which can allow for some cool designs of like the edge, thickness, and what have you. He grins as he takes one of his things through the air. Whoa, this is going to come in handy. Thanks, Smith. Like, these guys, it's not really crazy. A lot of the dialogue for these, unless it's a story progression mission, really doesn't matter. Okay, I have no more points, so we're going to end the day. Okay, previous pounds was 35, I earned 104, upkeep is 20, I walk away with 119. So now here we have 2 options, the gate and the camp. The gate is pointless to us until we know we can go inside. So we're going to go to camp. And this is where you got to pick your options well to help unlock different pieces of the story. Outside the walls of Aaron Keep, desperate souls gather in a makeshift tent pleading for entry. Scavenge for food, introduce yourself to the neighbors. I'm going to scavenge for food. The tragedy of the applicants' camp is indescribable. So is the smell. There are no sewers out here. Ew. And not everyone bothers to go to the outskirts to use the latrines. Ew. As the missus might say. Tucked away from the squalor, you find a pocket where desperation hasn't completely taken hold. Children are playing in the mud. A few scrawny chickens peck at the ground. miraculously uneaten as you pick your way through. Wary eyes track your movements from tent flaps, some calling out to alert their neighbors to the presence of a newcomer. At the center of this little community, you come to find a family crouched around a huge cooking pot, simmering with meats and scrounged vegetables. A little girl tosses a handful of wild herbs into the stew. Your mouth waters. Approach them. A father and mother, a gaggle of children, a grandmother with a face like an ancient apple, even a dog rolling on its back in the dirt, tongue waggling. I think it's supposed to be tail waggling. Um, they're rough looking sorts. There are rough looking sorts, filthy and grunt, but you're not exactly presentable yourself these days. As you get closer, the man twitches aside his cloak to reveal a heavy wooden club. His wife's hand darts to a dagger in her belt. The dog snarls, hackles rise. They all look at you carefully, awaiting your next move. Introduce yourself. Pet the dog. Give me your food. Don't make me ask it twice. Toughness, 35%. I believe this is telling me my chances of succeeding. Back away. I'm going to introduce myself, unless anybody else has a suggestion for a choice. Alright. Introduce yourself. The bearded man. Ho there, stranger. Name's Barnet Marauder. I'm gonna butcher names in this, so don't expect me to say any of these right. I'm terrible with names. That's a good chunk of the time why I listen to audiobooks, so when I do my book reviews, I say the names right. This here's my wife, Trianne, and her ma. I'm not even gonna try and say that one. Jida, I don't know, Gaida, I don't know. I said I wasn't gonna try, and I tried anyway. What are you gonna do? I can take you through the names of the nippers too, if you like, but I get them mixed up myself. Now, because I've got the portrait of this character, his portrait will show up if he comes to get a sword from me. The young woman smiles wanly, withdrawing her hand from the dagger's hilt. The old woman just nods, her expression lost in a mass of wrinkles. The children cluster behind their father, peeping at you and giggling. And this mutt's name's Chudo. He's a good boy, keeps the vultures away. The word vultures. Bennett's expression darkens. Chudo sneezes disdainfully. Pet the dog. Look at that boy. The dog lifts its lip in a snarl as you approach, but at the last minute it lowers its head and allows you to scratch behind its ears. Chudo seems to like him. That's good enough for me. Good boy. Chudo's tail wags wildly, stirring up a cloud of dust. You mentioned vultures earlier? Aye, human vultures. He doesn't elaborate further, but his shoulders stiffen. What's in the pot? It smells incredible. It only smells good because, from the looks of you, you haven't eaten a proper meal in weeks. Come on, pull up a rock, grab a bowl. Grab a bowl. It's a hugely generous gesture. Meat out here is as precious as gold, and this man has children to feed. Let's see. Do I want to be nice or don't worry, I'm not hungry. You got a full belly, have you? Enjoyed a kingly feast in the land of milk and plenty? Ha! Well, you can sit down at least and swap a story or two. Where did you find all this food? You've seen those big merchant caravans that come heading through the camp every day. A box of rations fell off the back of one of those. That's some luck, ain't it? Now, if I'd picked the other one, I would have gotten a buff, because I did that the last time. I shared the meal with him. I got a buff for the next day. I think it gave me extra action points. Let's see. let the matter lie. He gives you a theatrical wink, one of his children's giggles, and hugs his leg. How long have you been camping out here? Almost 2 months now. Every day I beg the guards to let us through, but they're not interested in the likes of us. They offered us a trade, though. They'll take our nippers in and keep 'em safe if Chian and I go work ourselves to death in their mines. But then who would look after old Glida, eh? You should. I agree, Glida wouldn't survive out here alone. Aye, that's the truth. So we are stuck here for the time being. Don't worry, though. We'll find a way to get ourselves past the gates. Pleasure to meet you, Sealer. Away from the Munders, the atmosphere of the camp reasserts itself. Unfriendly glares, distant sobbings. You draw your cloak close yourself as you hurry back to your tents. Introduce yourselves to your neighbors. The tent near you are mostly occupied by unfriendly, suspicious folks. They spit on the ground when you approach and ward you off with threatening gestures. There's one exception, however, a young woman who actually smiles as you approach, though her eyes are a handful of hollow set. Glad to see you're feeling better. You were on death's door for a while there. You looked after me.
Not exactly. I dragged you to safety after you fell off your horse.
Thank you for that.
No problem. The old woman did most of the work, nursing you back to health. I'll check in now and then, but she told me you were still recovering.
Where is she anyway? I haven't seen her in days. Oh, that was her.
Where is she anyway? I haven't seen her in days.
Giving her like a, Hetty from Ghost's persona. She was gone by the time I woke up. I have no idea where she is.
Huh. Strange. I assumed she was a relative of yours. Must have been just a kind-hearted old soul. Count your blessings. There are not many of those around in this camp.
It's nice to see a friendly face here.
And good to meet you, too. Name is Shiv, short for Shivana. But only my mother calls me that, and she's been dead for 10 years. Oh, she's painfully thin.
She's painfully thin and covered in grime, much like everyone else in the camp. She's the first person you've seen smile, though.
What do you imagine goes on in Erin Keen? I'm starting to forget the civilization used to look like.
As long as everyone needs it, it's safe in there. The Masked King looks after his people. It's safe in there. Ah, well, safe is a far bit better than what you've got out here, isn't it? She lapses into silence. Somewhere in the distance, a scream rings out. You both try to ignore it. Do you know anyone selling materials that I can use for forge? And see, this is the part I didn't go through, so I never got the shop in my first playthrough.
I heard someone say that there's a scrap peddler in the Lost City selling all sorts of things. Be careful if you go to the Lost City, though. The place gives me the shivers. A new location has been added.
Say my goodbye. Before you leave, Chev grabs your arm. There's a wild desperation in her eyes.
I've been stuck out here for weeks, and not everyone in camp is as friendly as you. Not sure how much longer I can last. Can you do me a favor? If you get into Erin Keen before me, find a fellow named Lucas Baronia. He's my uncle. If he knew I was out here, he'd help me, I'm sure.
Let's see. Of course, I will let him know you're here. Thank you. She rubs her eyes.
Look at me, getting my hopes up. Lucas Bernaria, remembering the name.
Shiv lifts her hand in farewell as you walk away from her tent. Her smile is as fragile as porcelain. Return to your tent. You climb into your bedroll, massage your swollen joints, and try to ignore the rumbling in your belly. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. So, there we go. Now, we got a bunch of new new forges to do. And then when we end the day, we can find the scrapsmith. So, ooh, this guy will give me silver, gold. Oh, it's Bennett. He's got 15. Ooh, he wants a lot of leather. At least 11. I only have 7. Yeah, we'll do this. so you can see what I was talking about before. Approaches you in the anvil with Jodo tottering faithfully besides. His dog's tails wag in recognition as he spots you. Good tidings, Smith. Just thought I'd drop by, look at your forge. It's a nice little setup you've got here, aren't it? I was lucky the forge was already here when I arrived. That is a stroke of luck. Still, there's a lot of abandoned stuff lying around camp. People die and leave their things behind. He pauses to scratch Chodo's behind the ears, then straightens with a sigh. To tell the truth, Smith, this ain't a social call. I was looking to commission a blade from you. Let's see, what's this? Camp's a dangerous place and getting more dangerous by the day. I could do with a good sword if I'm protecting my family. Experienced swordsmen, not with swords, no, but I kept order at my old tavern with a stout cudgel. When needed, drunk men are easy to handle than desperate ones, but I know a bit about how to hurt a man. What can you offer? I don't have much coin, but good barter. But I've got goods to barter. Stuff I've scavenged, records wagged furthermore. Turtle whines softly and nudges. My children, Jenny, Olga, Geta, let's... Okay, so we're gonna forge this. Like I said, don't have the leather for this, but we're gonna work with what we got for right now. He wants speed and two-handed narrow point. Okay. Now let's talk about before. See, and then I can add a different thickness. Switch to the other side. See here, see, so the point only comes in on this side of the blade. Okay, so now I've got asymmetrical control. Oh, oops, let's see. So Polish her up. And see, here we go with leather. See, now I don't have enough leather. I only have 7. This needs 11. There we go. So I don't have enough resources, so I'm going to leave this. And I can always go back to that. And it does take away from my leather resources because I've committed part of it to it. But like I said, I can always go back to that one. Hey, I did read the story for this one. Guy wants a sword. They all want swords. No, this is what I was talking about before, so... He wants a narrow point. A lot of them like narrow points. Hey. I don't like how thick that is, so... No handguard for you. There we go. Bam. Not the best sword in the world, but... There we go. He wants walnut brown. See, he wants leather. Okay, so I got 2 swords that I can't finish. So we're gonna leave. Build at least 1 sword. Okay, this one needs a regular point. Regular point and sharpness. go. Hey. Hey, he likes the sword. And boom. Okay, so since I'm out of steel and all that, we're gonna end the day. Hey, now we're gonna go to the Lost City to find that merchant. Not all of Ellen Keep was granted the Masked King's protection. In centuries past, the city spilled beyond the ancient walls. Now the barrier which traces the walls course has left these outside areas to the mercy of the wastes. Nicknamed the Lost City, these crumbled districts have been picked over by countless looters, but rumors persist that there is worthwhile treasure to be found amongst the rubble. Seek the scrap peddler. As the night draws closer, the shadows in the Lost City come alive, hidden eyes watch you scurry through the ruins, feeling small, vulnerable, and insect. Fortunately, the scrap peddler is easy to find. He warms his hands over blazing fire in an empty market square, accompanied by a sad-looking mule pulling a cart full of junk. He is an off-putting sight. Most of his face is bandaged, but the exposed areas are a mess of festering sores and flaking skin. You dread to think what the bandages are hiding. Not contagious, not contagious. The peddler points at him as he shouts, one yellow eye peering madly at you through the gauze. What kind of madly affects you? Not contagious, I swear. He doesn't seem to fully understand your question. Taking a look at him, his disease looks like either leprosy or a terrible skin condition. Either way, best not to get too close. I have many things. I find them in the dark places. I sell to you. What do you sell here? Many things, much to be found for those who know. Can I see your wares? A new vendor is now available. But it is too dark. The dark time is for taking my favorites, not giving. Come back in daylight so you can see what it is you're buying, yes? How do you find stuff? The dark place called to me. I find forgotten things here. He points vaguely downwards. The mule reacts as though ready to expire. I'm surprised no one's stealing or killed you or stole yours. Ha! I'm good at hiding. If found, I cough and spit and sputter and pretend to be contagious. The bad man ran a mile, but I am actually not contagious. I swear it. Farewell to the peddler. Partners forever and always, yes? His rotten grin sends a shiver down your spine. So we're going to search the city for valuables. Leslie's been easily picked over by scavengers. Your hopes of finding something are slim, but irresistible. Shards are a little crunch underfoot as you trudge down through the stairs. Each of those one day half-collapsed shelters and venture deeper into the lost city. You walk through a district that's at the point of devoured by fire, leaving only charred ruins. The only surviving building is an armory, its stone walls blackened with soot. Search the armory. The weapons rack stand empty, but it says half buried berries. You spot a slumped figure. The corpse is recent. Some other looter has been trapped here when the building collapsed. Hopefully he was crushed before he starved. Find a leather boot. Very good. Find your way back to the outskirts. For a moment you think you've lost your way, but then you spot a fountain you recognize. It's a statue cracked with headless. It is remaining water, just a puddle of black slime. You breathe a sigh of relief. This is familiar to her. The sun slips low in the sky. The shadows in the room lengthen. Time to leave. You hurry back to camp. Unlike the lost souls camped among those black ruins, you still cling to the hope of entering Ellen Keep. New dawn. Okay, so we just unlocked the vendor, so now we can go to him. And say, make your wild says, at least you reach the script peddler says. Yeah. The peddler perks up as you approach his own very eyes. Cause I say the prettiest trinkets for you, yes. Survey his wares. Okay, so now I can sell stuff that I have, and I can buy stuff off of him. See, this is talking about books, swordsman essentials. These all unlock extra pieces. What I really need is leather. So I'm gonna buy as much leather as I can off of him. 20 leather should be good. Get some steel. Sell him a boot to get more steel. Hey, the scrap peddler dances around excitedly as he bands dance for his colors. The meal reaches pitifully. Bid farewell. Okay, so he's basically always says the same thing, you know, you bid farewell, you leave him, and he goes, tell your friends I'm not contagious. So now we can go back and finish Baron's Forge. Like I said, see, I can go there. I don't need to pay anything for the actions because it's already been done. So now we go here. We got our leather. We got our nice little sword. Okay. Call it. Let's see. Family. We're gonna call this, let's see. See. We're gonna call this the home front. Anybody takes the sword with a reverent hand, his weathered face lighting up. Jordo wags his tail. I don't know much about swordsmith, but this one feels good in my hands. He makes a few careful practice swings, testing the weapon's weight and reach, while Jordo watches approvingly. If any more vultures circle around my family, they'll find more than they're bargained for. Between Jordo's teeth and this blade, the martyrs can hold their ground. Be careful out the stairs. Thank you, Smith. Here, take this. I found it in the ruins. He produces a glimmering necklace, clearly valuable. Please, out of everyone in this Forsaken camp, you're the only one decent person I've met. Here, take a look. We have to look out for each other. If you ever need anything, company, a hot meal, whatever, you know where to find us. Come, Chodo. There we go. So he's got XP, silver, steel, gold, a gold pendant, and some blue pigment. Okay, so we got a new gold pigment. Now, what's this guy missing? Also leather. So we're gonna go and finish this up. And there we go. And there. Takes expresses his confidence stands well to his military background. Fair, Smith. Hats off to you. Not a bad job. Hey. Oh, got a horseshoe. Some old tools. Now see, I just made a bunch of extra money, got an extra skill, and I didn't use any of my action points. Okay. We're gonna go with scaling. Because when you scale things down, you can actually reduce the materials they cost. A. This needs black pigment and leather, which I've got a bunch. I've got enough steel. This one gives me more leather, some silver. Requires less steel. That's a toughie. We'll go with this one. Okay, woman approaches you, man with a or exhaustion. She has a small boy hanging around her ankles, sucking his thumb, his hunger hollowed face making his eyes stand out for dim blaze. You're a smith, right? You make swords? I've already lost 2 children on the road. I can't lose another. I need something to protect him with. I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry won't keep Thom safe. Only steel can do that. What can you offer? I don't have much coin, but I'll give you everything I have, whatever it takes. She glances again at her son, her voice breaking slightly. He's only 4 years old. He doesn't understand why his sister and brother aren't with us anymore. I won't lose him not without a fight. Okay, and let's forge. Okay, so this is going to be a sword for a mother protecting her children. Okay, the edge. Okay, good. Yep, so now we can extend pieces. This is like my favorite handle. I like using this one a lot. And see, this is what I was talking about before. Scale. Make it bigger, make it smaller. It needs a. There we go. See, that was what I was talking about before. Is I can shrink items down to make it use less resources. There we go. I made it too small. There we go. Okay. There we go. You can see a little bit of the tang on the sides there, so let's make it a little bigger so it's not clipping through. There we go. Okay. Nice blue sword there, looking pretty good. And see, I can make precious metals, but I'm going to save that for the story, the really important story mission. We're going to call this Mother's Love. She takes her grapes, but her eyes are so hard. It's everything I expected. She calls softly to her son, who is playing in the dirt nearby. He looks up, his fingers black with mud. Come here, Thara. Stay close to Mama. The boy runs over
and clutches her leg. She rests a protective hand on his head while keeping the other on the sword's hilt. Thank you, Smith. I pray I never have to do this, but if I do, well, I think it'll do the job. Stay safe out there. It's not safe out there, Smith. None of us are ever safe, but maybe I can make it a little more safe for my boy. And there we go. I don't have enough for this, but I can get myself a few extra pieces and some XP. Okay. Sharpness. All that needs fixing is the sharpness. And boom. Some of this stuff is usually pretty easy. Gets me some money, gets some XP. Okay, so I can sell some of this for scrap. Myself some there. Talk to the scrap peddler. Let's see his wares. Hey, that'll be good for now. That's a good service. Yes, yes, yes. What is your name, peddler? That's right, I'm a peddler. Scraps the game. Do you ever go inside? Says, guards say no. Say I make people sick, but lies, not contagious. You see, not even a little bit. How long have you been scratching these rooms? Once I had a shop, a real shop with walls and a floor, then... His gestured at his bandaged face with a gurgling laugh. Now I have a mule. Mule doesn't care about face. Mule supports me through hard times. How long, you ask? 10 years? 17 years? How long does a mule live? Have you seen Strange in the Ruins? The walls make songs sometimes, they do. A beautiful sweet song from the sleeping. Men with candles sneak out there to call up their things from the dark places, but the dark places are not so easy to call. I could tell them I could tell them that if they liked, the dark places do the calling. What conditions are you suffering from? Nothing wrong. My skin doesn't like me anymore. I think. I don't have any more quotas. Mindlessly scrapping. Hey, bid goodbye. You nod curly tears. Tell your friends about me. Tell them I'm not contagious. That not at all. Okay, so we gone through everything. New day. A daily profits. This is New Balance 18. So we've got the camp. Stay in the forge. The Lost City. I could try and maybe find something in the Lost City. We're gonna go to camp. Outside the walls there and keep desperate soldiers makeshift pleading for entry. You lie in wait in the camp's outskirts. As twilight turns to dusk, a wagon appears on the horizon. Its enormous speed is clean up the storm wake. A black armored guard sits atop the wagon, wielding fierce-looking crossbows. If they spot you, they're likely to end up you're likely to end up punching a few holes. But in your luck, a child runs out in front of the wagon, almost ending up minced beneath the wheels. The wagon pulls to a halt, and the guards shout at the boy to get this. Maybe, let's see, steal a box of rations. Success! You dart out, shadows among the shadows, and hoist yourself up onto the wagon. After a heart-stopping moment, you relax. The merchant is leaning out of the window, distracted by the shouting outside. In one swift moment, you grab a nearby box and slip out of the way. The wagon is already rumbling back into motion. No time to lose. Check your prize. It is filled with strips of salted meat and chunks of black bread. Enough to keep me fed for days, unless you wanted to repay Bernard's kindness and share the haul with his family. Brendan and his wife are nowhere to be seen. Olgaria sits in her senses while the children stroke the fire and scrub at the prayers. Cherto's dog's tops up, wagging his tail at your approach. The oldest of the children, the boy with the twig-thin limbs and sour face, looks up at you with a glare.
What do you want? You're not my mom.
Where are your parents?
Trying to score some food. The pot of stew didn't last long. Thanks for not taking a bowl, by the way. I know that it can't have been easy. You're as hungry as the rest of us, but we really needed that. My old man's too damn generous for his own good.
Pet child. It's waggling malignly. I didn't catch your name, kid.
Sandrick, I'll tell you my dad stopped by. I'll tell my dad you stopped by.
Leave the boy to his joy. The boy just grunts when you bid him farewell. Cherto runs excitedly, circles around you as you leave, then bounds back to the resuming guarding his family. Okay. Speak with Chef. You find Chef sitting outside her tent, gnawing on a chicken bone has already picked up these. Nice to see you again. I'm just enjoying my dinner. I'd offer you some, but I'm still waiting. So before, how it said, oh, you'll offer to the Barnett's family. So if I had taken his food, kid would probably made a stink, and then I would have given him the food. Oh, sorry. Nice to see. How did you end up here? I grew up far west from here in Creva. I lived in a beautiful port town. On certain mornings, the sea and the sky blend together into a nice shade of misty blue. It was like looking into the hazy abyss with ships suspended in the middle. Then the sundering happens. Since then, I've been hoping for settlement. I've been hopping from settlement to settlement, disaster to disaster. A few years ago, I heard that Aaron Keep had survived, no better than survived. It had thrived, the safest place in the world, surrounded by a magical shield that kept both plague and monsters at bay. The name sounded familiar, and then I remembered my dad used to tell me about his fool of a brother that moved to Aaron Keep to make his fortune. Not such a fool after all. I guess not. I wish our family moved with him. In any case, that's how I came here. My uncle is the last member of my family left alive. I'm sure he'd take me in if only I could get through the damn gates. Well, you know about the magical bear appeared shortly after the sundering, right? At the same time as the masked king took the throne. I don't know much more than that, sorry. Do you have a plan for getting to Cairns? Of course, I've got skilled team assembled with lock picks and grappling hooks. No, I don't have a plan for getting in. I'll be making this up as I go, and fairly miserably. What's the latest gossip around him? Oh, you know the usual things. Petty fights and thefts, people die, and new people turn up from the waste to replace them. Tell me more about your life at Curse. Do I have to? Dwelling on the good memories is beautiful but painful, like gazing overlong at the sun. What about the bad memories? During the sundering, ambitions rose from the ocean. Abominations rose from the ocean. The waves were high as mountains. The sea beast claimed what the sea didn't. We were visiting my father's vineyard, out in the reach of the worst of it. We fled thinking that town suffering unique tragedy. We didn't know what the same thing was happening everywhere else in the world. Thank you for stopping by. Look around camp. The camp is spares an ocean of mud and fleas and grins. It is not far from your tent. Recent rains have swept away the soil on a massive grave, exposing glints of yellow bone. Only the rats are well fed out here. Wait for a passing wagon. Unfortunately, the merchant wagon seems to have upped their paranoia since your theft. You wait for hours as they roll past one by one, but the guards are keen-eyed and the drivers won't stop for anyone. Perhaps you just got lucky before. It seems there won't be another opportunity like that again. You hurry back to your tent, concealing the food under your cloak. There's no room for sentiment in the camp. You are well fed for one day, so that gives me a +1 to my toughness. Once you're safely hidden in hunger, neighbor, you tear into the bread and meat in savagery as unidentified as a wolf at the carcass. It's cold, salty, so it's the best thing you've ever tasted. Dawn of a new day. Okay, so thanks to our well-fed, we have 10 action points to spend today. Gives us steel. Ooh, a book. Gonna do this one. Do I have indigo? I do have indigo. Go and do this book. Wearily looking man approaches your anvil, his shoulders are hunched T-spot. Out here, the strong pay on the weak. I should accept that for long, and I'm tired of being counted among the weak. A good blade may change the equation. Okay. So, this is like one thing I was telling one friend. It can feel very repetitive because a lot of the swords are basically the same. I just want it to be the seal. So you end up. So at the beginning, it's very. There's very little in terms of creativity. But as the story progresses, that changes. So if you can get through the boring part, the story mode kind of picks up a little bit. And like there's one point where like some of those more story-based commissions kind of get you into like a, ooh, I kind of want to really give a nice fancy sword to it. So taper. Hey, there we go. So yeah, see, it's getting thinner as it gets to the end. Sharpness, there we go. A little sharper. He wants two-handed. Ah, needs a broad point now. There we go. There we go. And so we got ourselves a sword. The friend. It says I'm not twisted. Perfect. There you go. And there he goes. Gives me money, gives me the steel, gives me a new book, Rise and Shine Volume 1. I don't know what Rise and Shine Volume 1 will give me, but it should unlock. Yep, new sword parts books. So that gives me some extra sword parts. So this one gives me a mild riser, a strong riser, a furl, regular furl wide, regular, and one more. Let's see. Gonna go with this one. So I'm going to head into the Lost City and find stuff to sell. People say there's treasure there, says, but the Lost City's dangerous. Things hunt in the dark. I need something to keep me alive. Call it an investment. So she needs a sword to keep her safe while she's in the Lost City.
we go. And see the star shoot. That's what I needed to have. Not enough resources. Okay. So now I need to leave. She wants something mobile. Don't want to give her something that will block the handguard too much. Oh. That's cool. I didn't have that before. That's new. Oh, that's even cooler. Definitely didn't have that before. Oh, I know what those could be used for. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Let's see what I was talking about before any of the game pieces come in. Gonna unlock that. So yeah, I pretty much got all 3 skills before I even beat the prologue. And okay, it is getting late right now, so we are going to end it here. If you guys want to see more video of this game, you know, drop a comment or hit the like button, and that'll tell me that you guys want to see more of this. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, click that little bell icon so you'll actually be told when these videos are out. And yeah, like I said, if you can, if you want to see more of this, leave a comment saying give us more, or just hit the like button, and that'll let me know that you guys want to see more of this. But for now, that'll be all, and thank you all for watching. Until next time, fearless gamers, take care.